Excellencies, esteemed guests, dear colleagues, very good morning, everyone, and welcome to this important session on Unleashing Youth Power, United Action, Global Impact. I do believe that involving youth in climate action and sustainable development has never been more important, not only because actually they are going to be the ones who will inherit the consequences of the discussions and decisions of today about climate action and sustainable development, but also because we have to appreciate the skills and knowledge that they can bring to the table. We have to appreciate the power of advocacy that they have, and also the fresh perspectives that they can always come up with. In this session, we are going to explore the integral role that young leaders and future leaders are going to play in global sustainability and taking the climate agenda forward. And I'm really happy to highlight the fact that we are working and developing and bringing this session up to you in direct partnerships with our colleagues and partners from the UAE Masdar's Youth for Sustainability Initiative. Actually, we put our minds and hands together to make sure that we're coming up with something that can make a difference in this context. And hopefully, with today's session, we're going to achieve that. As you're going to see today, we're going to have the first part of this session focusing on some welcoming remarks and introductory remarks from our leadership, management, and our key guests. Then we're going to move to the first session, which is going to shed more light on key initiatives that was designed and meant to support and invest in youth and building their capacity to get them ready for taking a more leadership role in advancing the climate agenda. And then we're going to move to the second session and the second panel discussion with a clear focus on the role of youth in green innovation. And now, without any further ado, I'd like to open the floor for a pre-recorded video by GGI's President of Assembly and Chair of the Council, His Excellency, Mr. Ban Ki-moon.
Your Excellencies, distinguished experts and guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the 8th Annual Global Green Growth Week. It is a sad world we live in today, with continuing wars of hatred, political instabilities, economic posturing and confrontations, and so many other uncertainties. Last year, I recall highlighting that 2023 was marked yet again with the due recording breaking temperatures and severe weather events. This year, scientists are already predicting with a near certain confidence that the year 2024 will surpass previous global warming temperatures. At a time when the global community should be working together to fight the climate crisis and its impact on livelihoods, we are instead waging violent wars against each other, spending billions on machines of war, and expending great amounts of time and energy to fabricate, distort, or justify the narrative of these actions. Yet, we have witnessed again and again throughout modern history how we, the global community, can come together to turn common challenges into opportunities. And we must do that now and work to fight the climate crisis with the sustainable development and adaptation. There is no denying the urgency and enormity of the challenges, and the Global Green Growth Institute, GGGI, is striving to building a low-carbon, resilient world based on the green growth model of sustainable and inclusive growth. The theme for Global Green Growth Week 2024 is Green Growth in Times of Uncertainty, because GGGI is determined to double down on accelerating green growth. GGGI sees green growth as a way to reduce carbon emissions with environmentally sustainable and socially inclusive growth, which helps enhance people's livelihoods with green jobs, improved environment, and even contributions to peace and social cohesion. In other words, green growth needs to be
All right.
process to membership. In order to get it right, to do it effectively, and to scale up the efforts for the greatest impact, we need more governments, businesses, and civil society groups to join us. Therefore, I am proud that this year's Global Green Growth Week is once again bringing together policymakers, thought leaders, investors, and innovators from all over the globe to share experiences and discuss solutions. This broad collaboration across national borders and sectors will be the foundation to even greater future success. And I am delighted that once again there will be a special emphasis on young people and their pivotal role in a greener future. Young people will be more impacted by climate change, despite having contributed less to the programs. Therefore, they have every right to contribute to the solutions, and I have no doubt their energy, creativity, and passion will be important assets. Allow me to conclude by recognizing that the challenges before us are immense and urgent. But let us also remember that together we can turn enormous challenges into meaningful opportunities and historic successes for a safer, greener, and more sustainable world for ourselves and for generations to come. I extend my best wishes for very productive discussions. Thank you.
Well, we do thank our His Excellency Mr. Ban Ki-moon for these inspiring remarks. Indeed, we need to put all of hands and minds together just to make sure that we're pushing in the same direction towards fighting climate crisis. And now please allow me to welcome on the stage GGGI's MENA Regional Director, Dr. Mohammed Tankara, for his introductory remarks. Please.
Your Excellency, Dr. Al-Anoud, colleagues, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good evening. Colleagues who are joining us from the Latin America and Caribbean and Africa region. It's the early evening, late night for some of them joining us. And good afternoon to our colleagues in the Pacific who are joining us online. I have the great pleasure of welcoming all of you to today's very important session, very exciting sessions on unleashing youth power, United Action Global Impact. Please allow me to take you through a story of youth engagements. During my days as Vice President of Plan International, a campaign was launched called Because I'm a Girl. And I'll take you through the reason why that campaign was launched. For way too long, youth in general and girls in particular were considered as beneficiaries to be protected, but not actors of the change. being part of it was what they were looking for. And over the period of 5-6 years, many, if I would say adults, we were all doing our best to help or to do what we call helping youth and girls to access education, to have safe school, and to basically address the issues of gender-based violence. And we came across a few important learning. Learning number one was that, well, actually, they can drive the change. The youth can drive the change. The youth should not be the one that the adult will come and say, okay, you need to go this way or that way. They have ideas, they have views, and they are dedicated to making the change. And accelerating that positive change, working at all levels, is something that was made possible because organizations like, at that time, Plan International, in collaboration with UNICEF, most of you may know UNICEF, a global partnership for education, they realized that it's not only about helping or supporting, but it's about what we call at that time youth-centered community development. Youth-centered, from people-centered to youth-centered community development. A lot of advocacy, collaboration led to, in 2012, the UN accepting and voting the first International Day of the Girl. And that was based on that campaign. And to give you the example of Plan International, the international board that had quarterly meeting decided for the first time to have youth board members. In DGI, we are not there yet, but it shows the example that youth at the center of the decision-making is possible, and they make a difference because they are motivated, they have ideas, they need the trust, they need the space, and they need the collaboration with adults. And something came very strongly into the discussions. In the UNGA, United General Assembly of last year, we organized a session with youth from around the world, together with the Minister of Environment and Climate Change of the state of Qatar. So 2 of the youth members, the first thing they said was, how come every time that there are solutions, there are programs, there are projects, we are treated as beneficiaries? And one of them said, we are just sick and tired of being seen as beneficiaries. We are actors. And you want to protect us, yes, but you need to give us the space to be part of it. So being part of it is what we are talking about today. Being part of it, being part of the support and advocacy effort to make changes, to make the policy decisions. Now, Because I'm a Girl story that I explained to you impacted a lot on me professionally and personally. Personally, because I have 3 daughters. There are triplets. One day they came, they said, oh, actually we are part of Because I'm a Girl. I said, how did you hear about Because I'm a Girl? Because their school enrolled into Because I'm a Girl. And then they started questioning me on, oh, so how come these schools don't have water and sanitation systems? So they're in the school, so they were, it was an international school, but they were discussing issues in other schools. So the number of schools, the ratio of schools with appropriate water and sanitation system, or some basic functions in the school, like separate toilet for boys and girls in many schools that the organization was supporting. So on the personal side, we ended up having very regular discussion at home on Because I'm a Girl, because they want to be part of the change. They want to be driving the change. Being part of it also was about managing issues. the more youth you put around the table, the more likely you have ideas that will help to address the solutions. And I give you another example of why being part of it is important. The water supply system is something that many LDCs, unfortunately, are lacking, both in school and communities. And when you have engineers going to schools and designing systems, they design from the engineering perspective. But when you bring the youth into the design, they will tell you, oh, actually, if you put the system here, some people will not use it. And you ask why? And they will tell you because of ABC in this community. If you put it there, nobody will use it. Because they have that knowledge, because they have that belief, and because they know that their voices matter. So hearing their voices has driven a lot my career in Plan International. And being part of it is also about increasing awareness and profiles. A lot of time, you have adults coming into the rooms or into meetings and telling you, oh, this is how you go about it. But having them part of the process is key. So youth as change agents is the key message. Today, we are talking about sustainability crisis. We are talking about unleashing the power of youth. The underlying, I think, pillars are the trust in youth, the belief in their capabilities and their abilities, and giving them the space to be able to be part of it, to be part of the actions. So we are very pleased to have you today and to tell us how you see the climate actions, how you see the impact moving forward, and how we can do it better. Putting our ideas together, putting our effort together can only lead us to sustainable long-term solutions. I personally have that strong belief that when you have youth as part of the decision-making, when you have youth as part of the thinking and the designing, you are likely going to have the solutions that are durable. In the next few years, 5, 10, 15 years, the youth are the ones who will be driving or leading countries' institutions. They have ideas, and we need to trust them. We need to give them that space. So thank you very much for showing us the way. Thank you very much for telling us how things didn't work and why they didn't work. And please tell us how best you can be part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tunkara. That was really inspiring. And I do echo that youth needs to be positioned as change leaders, and we need to pay all the attention to that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in the room and online, please allow me to welcome to the stage the Assistant Undersecretary of Green Development and Climate Change Sector of the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment of the United Arab Emirates, Dr. Alanoud Al-Haj. Please.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed partners, and youth champions, the remarkable leaders of our future, it is an honor to stand before you today at this significant event to share my thoughts on a topic of great importance, the role of youth and the profound impact of unleashing their potential in advancing global climate action and sustainable development efforts. Before I dive into the heart of my remarks, I wanted to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Global Green Growth Institute for creating this platform that brings together people from across the world to discuss the critical issues that shape our youth and its future, and to bring in our youth to be part of this discussion. I would also like to thank our flagship Emirati Clean Energy Investment Company, Masdar, for its presence today and for highlighting the vital role of youth through its outstanding Youth for Sustainability initiative. A special thanks to Master's Young team for sitting here in front of us, who traveled from the UAE to share their insights and speak to the world about the transformative power of youth and the impact of unlocking their potential. In recent years, the role of youth has consistently been a central theme in nearly every major global event focused on climate action and sustainability. And this is recurring. This recurring emphasis underscores a clear, powerful message. Young people are not only key players in addressing emerging climate challenges, but are also essential in ensuring a better, more sustainable future for humanity. It is crucial that we recognize and embrace the fact that today's youth will soon be on the front lines, leading global efforts to combat the adverse impacts of climate change. This raises an important question, and actually many important questions. How well are we preparing them for that? How well are we equipping them with the necessary tools, knowledge, resources to tackle this challenge? While some progress has been made, there is still much more to be done. We must significantly increase our investment in young people and create opportunities for them to take on the leadership roles in this global effort. On the other hand, I would like to emphasize, ladies and gentlemen, that youth are proactively driving change on their own. Yes, they are proactively driving change on their own, and they're doing it in a very amazing way, I must say, reflecting on the many ambitious actions that are done by youth in my own country, in the United Arab Emirates. They possess the motivation, the clear vision, enthusiasm, fresh perspectives, creativity, passion, and most importantly, a sense of responsibility to contribute to our nation's efforts in the battle against climate change. Numerous initiatives led by young people have emerged, one of which is Master's Youth for Sustainability program. There are also other notable examples worldwide, including the Fridays for Future movement, Youth for Climate, the Global Climate Strike, the Ocean Conservancy's Youth Initiative, and much more. These young leaders have chosen not to wait. They are taking the initiative, particularly in areas such as advocacy and policy engagement, raising awareness and education, promoting sustainable practices, fostering innovation and technology. Unleashing the power of youth has never been more critical, ladies and gentlemen. This empowerment can lead to significant impacts on global efforts related to climate change and sustainability. And by mobilizing communities, driving awareness, and fostering partnerships, young people can amplify action and sustainable development. This calls for more ambitious and structured youth engagement initiatives in climate action and sustainability. Governments, the private sector, civil society, academia, and even individuals must collaborate to amplify youth voices, ensuring that their contributions are not only acknowledged, but also scaled and built upon. By creating inclusive platforms for dialogue and action, we can empower young people to play a significant role in shaping our collective future. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to address the youth present with us today, both in person and online. Your role is incredibly significant, and the expectations placed upon you are high. We have every confidence that you will rise to the occasion. Stay focused and know that we trust you to bring about the change necessary to achieve our sustainability and climate goals. From our side, we are committed to supporting you and working hand in hand with you to realize our shared objectives for a sustainable future for ourselves and future generations. While the journey ahead is filled with challenges, it also offers countless opportunities for learning, exploration, and enjoyment. Embrace this journey, and together we can create a better tomorrow. I do thank all of you, and I wish a fruitful and restful day for the rest of us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was very informative and inspiring indeed. And I do believe that the question is still valid, how well we are preparing our youth to take the lead on the upcoming role. So now I think we are at the point where we're going to start our first panel discussion. And I'm really happy to have with me today a very special group of young people who flew all the way from Middle East to come here today to, to come here today to speak about their views regarding the role of youth and the innovation and how youth can be part of that movement. But before I welcome my esteemed guest to the panel, I would like to take 1 minute of your time just to show a video about the key initiative today, Y4S. Then we can start with our panel discussion.
I am the voice of the future, and it is my turn to speak. Today, I'm a UN Youth delegate of Serbia, and tomorrow, who knows, I might even become the president. We need innovative ideas to tackle climate change now. Y4S connects me with change makers around the world who can make that happen.
I am the light that leads the way, and it is my turn to shine. I inherited a strong commitment to caring for our planet from my family. I'm going to be representing the voices of the youth at COP28. I want to be at the forefront of climate action, making an impact that will resonate across generations to come.
I am the answer. I am the solution. I moved from Colombia to Abu Dhabi to create new technology that will accelerate progress. And the amazing network opportunities through Y4S is helping this to become a reality. When we all work together on the same problem, we can make bigger changes.
The time is now. The way is forward. I was a youth representative at COP27, and I work for the UAE Ministry of Climate Change and Environment. Y4S supported my expedition to Antarctica. What I witnessed there confirmed that we need to step up and take responsibility for our planet.
There is no Planet B, and Planet A needs us now. I am going to take the stage on behalf of the youth, on behalf of our planet. I want to be a policymaker in Kenya and make a difference in my community. Y4S has given me the knowledge and confidence to pursue that goal.
If tomorrow could speak,
It would ask us to face the truth that the world's future lies
In the hands of its youth.
Because the youth
can make a difference.
Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome to the stage Maytha Al-Gimzi, an outreach officer of Masdar's Youth for Sustainability Program. Please, Maytha. Zaid Ghanem Al-Mazroui is a UC Davis graduate in economics with expertise in data analytics and economic analysis. Ahmed Sharif Al-Marri is a political science student at the UAE University with a strong passion for sustainability. Welcome, everyone, to GGI headquarters and to this session. So first and foremost, very good morning. I hope that you had a very pleasant evening last night. So let me start with you, Maytha, given that you are part of the Y4S's organizing team. Just maybe it would make sense for everyone to know more about Y4S, what is Y4S, and what are the main initiatives and programs that you run.
Thank you, Ahmed, for that great introduction. And it's a true honor to be here in Seoul today, surrounded by the esteemed members of the Global Green Growth Institute. I'm Maytha Al-Gimzi. I'm part of the Youth for Sustainability team here at Masdar. And I'm just reflecting back on the journey of Y4S, which was launched back in 2016 as a Masdar Global Initiative. It's incredible to see how far we've come. At Masdar, we are deeply committed to ensuring that youth play a vital role in driving the sustainability agenda. And this commitment led to the launch of the Y4S program, which is a global platform under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. And so Y4S is a year-long program that starts every January at the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, which is one of the largest sustainability gatherings in the world. And our mission is to empower and inspire the next generation of sustainability leaders and equip them through accessible education and meaningful partnership like the one we have here today with GGGI, and equipping young people between the ages of 15 to 35 with the necessary skills and resources to excel in the field of sustainability. And so we achieve this through trainings and workshops and mentorship and innovative programs like the Innovate for Climate Innovation Challenge, as well as the Code for Climate Hackathon, and as well as comprehensive content, which we provide through the Skill Up app, which provides soft skills to the youth.
Thank you very much. That's very, very clear. And I think that's very encouraging as well to know that there's an initiative with this kind of objective and with this kind of programs. So let me move directly to Zayed, and I just introduced you as an economist, but maybe I would like to ask you as a future sustainability leader, what motivates you to learn about sustainability and to get involved in this role?
So I first began learning about sustainability during my early high school years in my geography classes and participation in the Model United Nations, where I was introduced to the Sustainable Development Goals. At that time, I had a basic understanding of what sustainability is and what it entailed. However, my view of it eventually, when I realized this at some point, was quite different and contrasted to how sustainability is understood and approached today. I noticed this after witnessing how sustainability and the changes unfold and how sustainability is being integrated into various industries, and particularly seeing the UAE's global, the UAE's leadership efforts in the global call for action for COP28 when I attended it in last year. And this experience inspired me to be part of a global initiative that commits to a sustainable future, and for that reason, enrolling in the Future Sustainability Leaders Program at the Youth for Sustainability was a vital step that I took in ensuring that I move towards achieving that goal, as I found this platform to be the ideal platform for me to develop my understanding in sustainability and unlock my potential in that field.
Yeah, you see, this is what we just said about youth coming with their skills, with their knowledge. I'm really impressed how you're linking your personal passion with what's going on in terms of global commitments. So maybe I can move the same question to you, Ahmed. What motivates you to learn more about sustainability and to get involved in this kind of movement?
Well, as a future sustainability leader, to me, it has been all about being curious and asking questions. And I'm a very curious person and maybe a nosy person as well, so I'd like to ask so many questions. And even through trial and error, we've learned even in the panel discussions yesterday that some projects would fail and some project would be executed perfectly. And as I'm a political science student, the gap between sustainability and my career is very small, because during the Conference of Parties, COP28 and 27, the past COPs, we've seen that policy making is a very vital aspect in that. And in politics, we learn to define an issue, define its solution, and then start enacting on it. And it relates to the broad field of sustainability. That includes, as I said, many aspects and targets. And I consider it a very big responsibility of understanding this field. And that's what motivates me to learn and involve it in both my future career and in my lifestyle, because in the end, sustainability isn't just an aspect of life, it's also a lifestyle that you have. And that's basically what motivates me.
Excellent. So let me stay with you for a while and ask you maybe, what are you doing actually to get this implemented on the ground?
Well, being involved in and attending major domestic events like Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, and global events like the current event we're in with the Triple GI and COP28 has always been part of my main goals, because attending these conferences and understanding the vast critical issues within the world also helps enhance this experience. And for example, I started my social media career during Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week by conducting interviews with the likes of Sheikh Dr. Majid Al Qasimi and His Excellency Surangal Whips Jr., the President of Palau. And interviewing them and being involved in all of this helped me and inspired me to invest in myself, invest in my talent of networking and interviewing. And sooner or later, I found myself being a moderator and part of panel discussions like the current one I'm in. And finally, I'm also a president of the SMBK, Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalid Youth Council. And this is part of what I'm doing to achieve these goals.
Excellent. You guys are super active. So maybe I pass the same question to you, Zaid. What are you doing to get this implemented on the ground?
Being involved as I possibly can in Y4S played an integral role in the journey I am on to achieving this goal. I believe that education is the foundation of any successful journey, especially in a field as dynamic and multifaceted as sustainability. And through the program, I've been able to broaden and develop my understanding on sustainability. During my time in the program, I've participated in various collaborative discussions, talks, and workshops. And one of the highlights of those was a climate talk that was hosted by Hub 71, which is a startup incubator that's based in Abu Dhabi that supports innovative solutions that address environmental and sustainability challenges. I found this talk to be particularly insightful because it covered Hub 71's global initiatives and how they work to align with the UAE Falcon economy strategy that focuses on diversification and sustainable growth.
Very nice. And maybe, Maitha, if we can hear from you, maybe on the same point, if you have any kind of success stories or feedback from other future sustainability leaders based on your experience. Yeah.
Yes. Definitely. As you can see, Ahmed and Zaid are just two examples of the 900 youth members who already graduated from the Y4S program, making a positive impact on the environment and society as well. So take, for example, we have Zain Al Tawil, who was also an FSL member and the founder of Yellow, who created a sustainable fashion brand that produces biodegradable abayas by incorporating fabrics made from vegetable foods, which saved approximately 1.5 liters of water per garment. Similarly, we have Abdel Qadir Al Saggaf, who was selected as a UN youth delegate to the UAE and was featured for the UAE Forbes 30 Under 30 for social impact. And we also have Sheikh Sharif, who joined the official COP28 negotiation team and was awarded the first class order of Zayed II by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of the UAE. And many others like Tha'ar Al Awad, who secured a job in a leading international company focused on sustainability thanks to the program and the skills and knowledge gained from the Y4S program. And so these success stories are only a few testaments to how Y4S supports young leaders in turning their sustainable ideas into impactful realities. And this is also entirely in line with the COP28 outcomes and UAE's journey in pioneering the climate action as well.
Brilliant. I really like these examples, and we're really proud of them and proud of you, of what you're doing for them as well. So maybe, because no success comes without overcoming a challenge, right? So maybe with you, Maitha, if you can let us know a little bit about what kind of challenges that you faced as Y4S, and maybe also as students with Y4S.
I think from an organizer's perspective, I think many join our Y4S program because they're eager to understand and to address the sustainability-related challenges that they're most passionate about. And I think this motivation drives them to develop innovative solutions, and together they get to navigate these challenges and turn them into opportunities for growth and impact. And I think Ahmed and Zaid could add on to that part as well.
Yeah. Start with Zaid.
Yes.
What kind of challenges that you face?
So as mentioned earlier at the start of the discussion, sustainability is a dynamic and multifaceted topic and is not exclusively about reducing environmental impact and achieving net zero emissions. And that's not to say that sustainability isn't about developing an understanding on how we can become good stewards of the planet. Sustainability, in fact, rather boils down to the ability of us to meet our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And therefore, if we go by this definition, we have to consider other key elements into the discussion. And these namely involve social aspects, economics, and governance. And for me, the challenge that comes with this, and for my curiosity, is understanding the complexity and interconnectedness nature of sustainability.
Thank you very much. And Ahmed, do you agree? Do you disagree?
I definitely agree. There's many challenges, but for me, it's mostly a personal challenge that I had, which was myself in a way. I always had underestimated my capability and my abilities. I never tended to invest in them, and which led to self-doubt, which led to fear. It's like a domino effect, if you will. I always had this, as I said, tendency and this disagreement with myself. And the first time I faced this challenge was during Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. I was so scared to interview VIPs, and I couldn't, and I had so many bloopers, and I had to replay the interview so many times. So I learned that I had to put myself in an uncomfortable position and make it my comfortable position, basically. And I had to create a rule with myself, which is called the 1, 2, 3, go. And it's, I count to 3 and I say go without any hesitation. And that's what built the confidence in myself.
Excellent, excellent. And what else can you tell us about? What do you do to overcome the challenges that you're facing?
Well, being trusted, getting that trust from Youth for Sustainability, and it's a family. It's not just a program, really. It's a family that I've gained, and I've always built that confidence through that trust that I've gained through the I4C challenge, the Innovate for Climate Challenge. A brief explanation is that it is a sustainability-focused ideation challenge, and it gathers many future sustainability leaders into teams, and that helps through the peer-to-peer networking aspect. And in addition, also being part of COP28 as a Master of Ceremonies for Y4S also helped me break these barriers and these challenges.
Very good. And Zaid, before I move to the next to the next question, maybe on the same point, what helps you to overcome the challenges that you highlighted?
So first, addressing this challenge we mentioned earlier of understanding the interconnectedness and complexity of sustainability is important, and also important for me, given that I'm an economics major student, and that's because sustainability issues are closely linked to economics. And after identifying this gap in knowledge, I began to explore sustainability through the nexus between the environment and economics. I became inspired to conduct research on green nudge policies. And that was during my final semester in university when I developed a strong academic interest for behavioral economics insights, and how we can leverage these insights, and figuring out how we leverage these insights to promote sustainability. And with green nudges, essentially, nudges, for those of you who don't know what nudges are, these are subtle interventions that policymakers use to influence humans in a predictable way. And that's done by understanding how humans actually make decisions, because that's the essence of behavioral economics, is acknowledging that us humans, we have tendencies, and we are not what traditional economic models assume. Human economicus, Homo economicus, which basically assumes that we weigh all available options and factor that into our decision making, and are essentially rational individuals. Behavioral economics, on the other side, acknowledges that these tendencies flaw our decision making, and including these insights can add more predictive power and enhance the traditional neoclassical models that we usually or by nature rely on. So that's one thing to consider. And other part of leveraging these nudges, using these nudges, we rely on heuristics. As mentioned, that humans are flawed in the decision making, and that's because we use mental shortcuts, which are called heuristics, and these are like rules of thumb that simplify our decision making, and that's because we want to conserve like our cognitive resources, and we instead of optimizing and weighing all the available information, we like to satisfy, and that's choosing the path of least resistance, and that's what heuristics are. And these nudge policies, when we apply them to the context of resource management, waste and consumption, they take into account how these decisions are made and these tendencies, and design policies that align with those tendencies. So I saw this as an opportunity, and during that time at university, I took the initiative to further explore behavioral economics concepts outside of class, and draw connections between sustainability and these concepts I learned. And ultimately, I was able to bridge the gap between the theory that I learned in class and real-world applications.
Thanks, Zayed. Maybe yesterday, Maytha, you and I and the other colleagues, we were talking about the peer-to-peer network. So, and I found it very useful, but maybe our guest today would like to hear a little bit about how this is actually helpful in terms of enriching the education experience.
Definitely. Thank you for that insightful question. What we have seen in the peer-to-peer network at Y4S is that it brings together members from diverse backgrounds across the globe. And so this global diversity fosters a rich exchange of ideas and best practices, offering unique perspectives on sustainability challenges as well as solutions. And so through mentorship and support, members connect with industry experts who provide hands-on guidance and insights as well. And the network also promotes active participation in real-world projects, as Zayed mentioned, which builds practical skills as well as teamwork.
Excellent. Zayed and Ahmed, in 1 minute, maybe you want to reflect on that?
Well, as Maytha mentioned, the benefits are never ending, but the most unique benefit I could think of is the diverse cultural backgrounds and experiences that you get to be exposed to. And going back to the whole defining the issue, the solution, and enactment, talking and discussing issues from all around the world helps you with the peer-to-peer networking, and it's definitely an educational enhancer.
Very good. And Zayed?
To add on Ahmed's point, similarly, for me, the benefits I noticed was gaining experience to work with diverse and different educational and professional backgrounds, and that promoted diversity and inclusion, because these different backgrounds add value to the important discussion on sustainability, as they brought various unique perspectives. And while I was collaborating with these different teams, I was able to develop my collaboration and communication skills, which was essential for my growth in the field of sustainability. I worked on projects like the Skill Up Showcase, which basically brings to life the concepts that we learned on sustainability and apply them to innovations that we create to solve real-world challenges. And from personal experience, I became motivated to take on new challenges and participate in engagements outside of the program. For example, I participated in an insightful youth debate at the World's Utilities Congress, hosted by the Taqa Group Youth Council. And in this debate, I had to argue for why ESG and CSR initiatives are key to unlocking a sustainable future. I found this debate to be particularly insightful and valuable for me because it made me realize and understand how ESG and CSR practices can be essential in aligning business activities with sustainable development goals, which ultimately benefits both the planet and profitability.
Thank you very much. I think this is quite important to highlight, but maybe building on that, if you can quickly let us know, how are you planning to build or utilize the connections and the skills that you get from Y4S down the line in your life?
Yes, so I plan on working in the finance sector and particularly in investments, and with a background and exposure in sustainability, I plan on leading these investment opportunities and encourage investment strategies that align with sustainable practices. And this alignment will not only ensure and drive responsible investments, but also enhance, in terms of if we look into investments, it enhances the long-term value and the resilience of these portfolios for the organizations. And by harnessing these insights and connections I gain from the program, I aim to contribute meaningfully to the success of these organizations by ensuring that these ventures that these organizations have are not only profitable, but are impactful in addressing the global challenges.
Yeah, we have a great investment here, and Gigi, I will be more than happy to welcome you. And Ahmed, how are you planning to build on those?
Well, by utilizing the skills and connections that I've gained through Youth for Sustainability, I want to give back to the city of Al Ain, which is my community, and I also love to call it the gift that keeps on giving, because it always has opened doors for me. And through my future political and diplomatic career, I would love to also open doors for the upcoming and the current youth as well that are in Al Ain. And then maybe I could also cooperate with Zayed in the future and start linking these certain aspects of the different places, especially after becoming the president of the SMBK Youth Council. It has been an eye-opener, really, to showcase the different skills and experiences. And as I said, it's the least I can do. And if I may add a piece of advice that I've gained from Dr. Ghalib Al-Hadrami, it has been, let's say, an advice that I'd love to pass on. And it's, as I said, always be curious, be nosy, ask your questions, don't be shy, and don't doubt yourself. Actually invest in yourself and find your voice and enjoy the journey.
Indeed, that's very, very insightful, Ahmed. And maybe the last question to you, Maytha, and because we talked about Y4S, maybe it's fair now to let the colleagues and let the participants online to know a little bit about the registration for Y4S.
Yes, definitely. So thank you once again to the Global Green Growth Institute for giving Y4S the platform to share our voice today here in Seoul. I think this discussion couldn't happen at a better time as we look ahead at COP29. I want to emphasize the role of youth in this journey and how crucial it is than ever. And this is the moment for us to step up and make a difference. And with that, I'm excited to announce that the registration is now open for the 2025 Y4S cohort. So if you have the passion to drive impact and change, I invite all of you to register through the QR code, which will be showed on screen. And if you're not part of the youth category, you can still reach out to us to collaborate on our mission to empower the next generation of sustainability leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Maytha. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attendance. And that takes us to the last part of the first session. I'd like to thank my guests, Maytha, Zaid, and Ahmed. So please join me in thanking them. Put your hands together. And now we're gonna, please allow us to take like 1 minute break, 1 to 2 minutes break, just to make a smooth transition. Then we can continue with the next session, which is going to be moderated by our colleague, Latifa Naimi. Thanks. So Latif, I think we're ready to start, and maybe I can kindly ask the speakers online to turn on their cameras so we can see them in the room as well.
Okay, so good morning, everybody, and welcome to our panel session, Youth Actions and Visions for a Green Transition. I'm Latifa Naimi. I'm a renewable energy engineer as well as a future sustainability leader with Y4S. And so I wanted to start off this session by focusing on all of you guys. And so I want to ask you a question. If you could raise your hand if you believe that youth are the future. Okay, I see all of you raise your hands, which is a great sign. And while I completely believe that youth are the future, I also believe that we're the present. Right now, all across the globe, young people are creating solutions, leading initiatives, and making sustainable impacts. And today we're going to explore how exactly those youth-driven initiatives can contribute to a more sustainable future. So joined with me today are three incredible women. It's an all-woman panel. In person, we have Yusra Hassan, who's the Regional Youth and Economic Resilience Advisor to the Middle East, North Africa, and Eastern Europe at Save the Children. And joining us online, we have Jenna Sameh, the founder and CEO of Aqua Guardians, a biotech water treatment startup, as well as Jisoo Yu, a member of DeltaGo, a startup specializing in nature-based sustainable solutions. Now, as we talk about creating opportunities for youth entrepreneurs within the green transition, we often hear a lot about innovative stories across the globe. And so I want to kickstart the session with you, Jenna, and ask you, how can youth entrepreneurs with green initiatives scale and drive sustainability while competing on the global scale?
Okay, hello everyone. I'm so happy to join this panel discussion. So I'll divide my answer into two main parts. How can they scale nationally, internationally, and compete on the global stage? First thing, they have to choose and define their target audience, also their unique selling point. And most importantly, to develop a sustainable business model. I think we will discuss this later. Second thing is to measure, quantify, and communicate startups' impact. You can quantify your environmental and social benefits of your startup, product, or service. Here we talk numbers, and of course you have to use media, PR, and do marketing campaign to help people know what you do. As an example, in AquaGuardians, we reduce ammonia levels by 70% in aquaculture wastewater. Regarding the economic benefits, AquaGuardians technology enables aquaculture farmers to increase their productivity by almost 15 to 20%. So our environmental and social impacts are very clear. Third important aspect is that youth entrepreneur can think about leveraging technology, utilizing technology to improve efficiency, maybe to reduce cost or develop innovative solution. Here in AquaGuardians, we're developing water treatment bacterial-based solution. We're focusing on the efficiency and the detoxification of the ammonia. Our R&D is always working in the lab to ensure that our product is compelling. Startups have to think about what are they different in. So first, they have to ensure that they succeed and excel in their country, then think about expanding globally. They have to make sure that they are targeting the right target audience. To expand globally, they have to conduct a research on foreign market to identify opportunities and challenges. Make sure to have a competitive edge and localize offering. I mean to adapt their product and service to meet the needs and the preferences of different culture. Last thing, which is very important, is building strategic partnership. Collaborate with industry leader, government agencies, also participate in competition. I participated in many competitions and incubation programs like Kuwait Energy Challenge, Climate Olympiad, BUE Pre-Incubation Program, Youth Innovation Lab, in collaboration with Save the Children. Special thanks to Yusra for her invaluable support and guidance through our journey. Their continuous assistance has been instrumental in helping us gain global exposure and participating in prestigious events like the Global Green Growth Week. Networking gives you great exposure to the global market, also participating in global initiatives.
All right, thank you so much for your input, Jenna. And as a youth entrepreneur who's built her own business, I also want to ask you, what are the key lessons learned from building sustainable business models in green entrepreneurship? And how can these models ensure both environmental and social impact alongside being profitable?
Okay, first of all, we have 4 characteristics of green entrepreneurship. We have to consider the environmental focus, social responsibility, innovation, and sustainability as core value. Sustainable business models that prioritize environmental and social impact are increasingly attractive to investors and funders. Why? Because the growing market demands, consumer preferences. Consumers are becoming more aware of the sustainability issues and are increasingly willing to support businesses that align with their values. Also, the regulatory pressure. Government and some regulators are implementing stricter environmental social standards. That's not implemented in all the countries, but it's implemented in some countries. Long-term and financial benefits. I think also that sustainable business model has an impact on risk mitigation. Sustainable business models are less exposed to risks associated with environmental and social issues, which can lead to greater financial stability. Also, the competitive edge aspect. I think that sustainable business models can provide a competitive edge in the marketplace, differentiating businesses from their competitors. Of course, the social and environmental benefits, investors and funders are getting increasingly invested in supporting businesses that have positive impact on society and environment. And I think it will become more and more in the upcoming year. So building sustainable business model require a delicate balance between environmental, social impact, and profitability. First of all, you have to define your mission and values. Clearly articulate your company's purpose and values and ensure that your mission aligns with sustainability goals. Second thing, you have to conduct a sustainability assessment. Assess your company's current environmental and social impact, identify area for improvement, and set specific sustainability goals. Third thing, developing a sustainable business strategy. Most important one, integrating sustainability into your overall business strategy. Consider how sustainability can create a true value for your business and customers. Also, regarding the supply chain management, you can find extra revenue streams that are sustainable. Maybe you can offer services as session through an online platform. In Aqua Guardians, we're going to do an online consultations for the fish farm owners. This will ensure reduction in the consumption in petrol transportation. At the same time, some target audience are best targeted by this way. But this applies to certain kinds of startups.
All right, so thank you so much, Jenna, for highlighting the journey that youth entrepreneurs go when they want to start a sustainable startup. And I think we can definitely learn a thing or two from those things. And now, speaking of learning, I want to shift our focus to education and the role it plays in shaping a just transition. As the demand for green jobs increases, it's vital that we ensure that the next generation is prepared to take on those roles. And so I want to ask you, Jisoo, how can formal education systems better prepare young people for green jobs and entrepreneurship within the context of a just transition?
Hello, everyone. Greetings from the Netherlands. And yeah, we are part of the joint student team based on the Netherlands. So maybe it's very difficult question because, you know, all the time, future is uncertain, and this uncertainty make it more complicated to be prepared because, you know, it is really difficult to be prepared for the things which is unknown. So the most important things in here is to get to know that the problem which comes up will be more complex and more wicked. So I think the most important thing is the interdisciplinary approach. So we have to dig down what is the drivers, and often those drivers are very complex. So I think the education should keep focus on the importance of this interdisciplinary approach from the very beginning. And speaking of this approach, to ensure that, I think problem-based learning is really important as well, because this allows students to apply what they have learned to their real-world challenges. So to support this, the formal education system, they should establish the strong collaborations with society and businesses. And they should bring their real-world cases through these collaborations to the classroom. So by integrating these cases, and also bringing those industry professionals into the educational setting will be very important to give more exposures to the students to real-world problems. Yeah, I think that's two things I want to mention: interdisciplinary approach and also the importance of problem-based learning from the beginning.
Yeah, so when we talk about interdisciplinary approach when it comes to sustainability, it's a really important topic because as a renewable energy engineer, I think a lot of people think of sustainability as renewable energy when the reality is it's embedded in all aspects of our lives. And so with this interdisciplinary approach, we need to talk about technology as well. And so I want to hand the floor to you again, Jisoo, and ask you what role does technology play in ensuring readiness for green jobs, and how can it be integrated more effectively into the educational curriculums?
Yeah, technologies play a vital role for sure for preparing students for the green transitions. And at the same time, like it changed constantly. Probably 30 years ago, it was the internet. Nowadays, it's a deep learning, machine learning. And the format and the contents like changing over time, but their core purpose remains the same. It's all about solving the problem and also improve the efficiencies. So I think for the formal education system, it's not their role to teach all kind of available technologies, but it's all about encouraging students to be more adaptive. So the education should focus on more about adapting to evolving technologies and teaching them about pitching how to pitch the questions. So how to identify the problem and how to choose the appropriate tools for that specific problem in a context-based. So yeah, I think the education should all the time encouraging students, not just about learning the theories, but also about applying to the real world cases, even though they're students, even though they're high school students, like secondary students, or even though they're university students, regardless of the time being, I think they should encourage students to apply for that.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your input, Jisoo. And we talked a lot about a just transition, but we can't talk about a just transition without talking about an inclusive transition. And so moving my focus to you, Yusra, I want to ask, how can we move beyond rhetoric and ensure that underrepresented groups receive equitable resources during the just transition?
Thank you, Latifa. It's a very big question. I'm very thankful for Jisoo and Jana for what they already added on the core part of this. And also the first panel mentioned a lot of focus on climate education for the knowledge and the skills needed for young people to actually transition and support the transition as active actors. A big part of that, and actually my role is including focus on youth, both at civic and political participation as much as economic participation. And I've worked on this across different contexts, but also primarily in emergencies and protracted crises. So what I would highlight on that is, first of all, the knowledge and the skills. Can stress how much the education systems are still trying very hard, but not catching up on the skills needed for the future for young people to have. When we try to talk about youth engagement in climate policy making, it's big frameworks. It gets complicated the more we get into it. We've been discussing through the first and second day during the week, this week, different frameworks, different structures, different funding structures, the mechanisms for technical support and so on. For this to be navigated by young people, it really needs to be broken down and needs to be part of the core education we look at, simplifying our language and our outreach. The second part is financing. Jana talked about entrepreneurship, and a big part of that is also accessing the finance. For young people, there are so many barriers at the procedural level, at the policy level, for registering, for compliance, whether working with public, private, or even international actors funding. So how to access financing, how to manage and navigate, how to manage that with the financial literacy required for it as well. And then there's the enabling environment, and I've worked also with other entrepreneurs and Jana's. She talked about buy-in, but that's after a very big negotiation with the clients, that the way we call them, whether it's fisheries or smallholder agricultural farmers or agricultural sector in general, the buy-in, especially for technology adoption, is still lagging behind in certain countries more than others. There's a big difference when the country is on board, when the governments are on board to support the technology adoption and to support the climate agenda, to advocate and to stress the asset and the value that this adds, especially across coast and especially working with technologies, because in some countries that also comes at a very expensive cost for farmers and they don't see the long-term vision. So we need to communicate on that impact as much as we can and showcase the needed transition with support from governments and from public and private and international actors to also support at least the transition part. If the smallholders farmers cannot buy the technology at first as well, how can that be also subsidized in a country, for example, or how can that be supported with the different funds looking at climate transition? if I'd be very selective, I can be exhaustive on what we can do, but if I'd be selective on certain points, I think there are opportunities working with higher education, with universities to have incubators and accelerators across different contexts. The critical point would be governance of how they are managed, and especially like not limiting that to only a certain student body, a certain sector. You said something about renewable energy and how it's sometimes like just one focus, which could be very aligned also with governmental interests in certain countries or governmental projects. But Jisoo mentioned interdisciplinarity as a core foundation for green transition, which is very valid. Also, if a university doesn't have certain departments, I think this was the case for Jana, their project received different incubation opportunities, but sometimes as a biotechnologist, that specialization was not there. So maybe she wouldn't get the technical guidance she needs. So how can we capitalize on the technical support and the learning assets in a country? Working with higher education would facilitate institutionalizing this support. But the governance, and especially if I'm a student in the same university, for example, or if the university has a different agenda, how can that be governed? So maybe we need to look at governance, at channeling funds as well, who's managing the funds. And as I said, I still work across very politically charged and humanitarian contexts, where youth especially are very politicized sometimes. Who you are matters big time in those contexts. Which communities or inter-community groups you belong to is also a big question. So accessing those funds can be biased one way or another. That's why the governance needs to be structured in collaboration with the communities and actually having everyone sitting at the table. So that brings me to the second part on the just transition, which is who we're leaving behind in a just transition. In conflict and in displacement in particular, in those contexts. We had a session on this on the first day, which was very helpful, but the NAPs, the National Adaptation Plans, the NDCs, the Anticipatory Action Plans or schemes for social protection, for example, hardly account for migrants, refugee populations, even camp settings within a certain country, or even IDPs who are citizens of the same country in some parts, but they don't have the same accessibility to resources and have actually been taken away or uprooted from their support structures in a certain community. So looking at context of crisis in particular and how can we support them more effectively, looking at age and gender. We've talked about young women, especially in crisis again, being affected, but also it's becoming sometimes a tick box exercise where females are included. I've heard from different projects in different competitions where they only added on the team young women just to be accepted in the opportunity. There is a need to do that sometimes in the quota for positive discrimination for certain community groups to take up a seat, but also young women, like Jana being founder, for example, for Aqua Guardians, and she also has other, and like all the teams we work with in this panel, as you said, is a testament that young women can do a lot more for the assets that they bring to the conversation. There is also the age factor and young people being an asset and a subject for investment, whether it's from investors, from governments, from incubating programs, whether they are public or private or others. Young people are still seen as a risk in many contexts. So we need to look behind that, look at asset-based narrative, looking at the assets for how young people could be disruptors. In crisis context, they are the most resilient. Actually, it's sometimes a coping mechanism where they act on the challenges that they see because they really want to do something. I've worked across different contexts where even some young people had to flee the country during the conflict, but they returned and they do want to invest in building back better. So they really are the ones to look at self-reliance within a country, to look at understanding the community nuancing, and even when they understand the values we operate in, and that's also a key point for us as international actors, on how we streamline our values with the private and public sectors, because we come from different agenda points, maybe, but if we really want to support them and we really are all going to be affected by climate, we need to work together. And coordination is still really lagging behind also, including even competition on similar programming for young people. rather than like reinventing the wheel, which is also consuming a lot of funding sometimes, rather than working together. I don't think entrepreneurship in particular has a lot of coordination yet in many countries.
Yeah, so as the theme of this week is action in times of uncertainties, and you mentioned a lot of conflict areas in the world, I think it's really important to ensure that when we move to transition into a greener economy, those people aren't left behind. And you also talked a little about financial barriers, and if you could just take a minute to quickly give us some specific financial barriers that prevent youth from scaling up their green projects.
So first, again, can't stress enough the regulatory and policy blocks for youth to even apply sometimes for the opportunities. They have to be registered, they have to have a certain capital or collateral at some point, or a track record, which is very hard, especially for the early start. So the early start itself, even to look before the scale up, the early stage investments are much needed still. And learning how to navigate the process and also protect their rights. So how come when I apply to a certain program, how do I keep the ownership of the idea itself? And this is something we heard from the youth themselves, that in many programs, their ideas could be taken over sometimes also by universities. The other side is when you're looking at investments, how can you protect, based on the contract terms, protect their rights for their equities or for their share in their businesses? So it's policy, regulatory, learning about the rights, and actually someone to help them to support the protection of their rights, whether legal or profit. Another aspect would be, again, governance. Who's controlling the funds in different countries? How the funds are channeled, the pace of the funds, working with youth across the different sets of skills. Youth can also have a different pace. They don't see our big structures of compliance, the very lengthy processes for due diligence and so on. All of this can really kill motivation, or sometimes also take away the energy and passion that youth have into the process more than the innovation itself. There is a need for co-creation of the governance model with the communities, including youth in the different countries, for coordination, including readiness as well. So, and that also includes humanitarian actors, I think, as a big one. Maybe I would ask Jenna and Jisoo if they also want to add on this point, whether ideas or barriers, especially for accessing financing and scale up. No, I didn't.
No, okay. So thank you all for this insightful session. I think that it's evident that both education as well as inclusion have to be at the heart of the conversation when we talk about a just transition. And as a final thing, if I could ask each of you to quickly just sum up what your thoughts are on this panel or on the conversation that we're having in just a sentence. And I'll start with you, Yusra.
If we're talking sustainability and long term, I don't think we can talk about it without young people, because they're the ones who are going to really be at the forefront of this. So thank you once again to you, Latifa, and to the panelists. Thank you to Luisa, Francesco, and Sona also, and for GGI for that opportunity this week. It has been really genuinely engaging and supportive of youth participation, and really thankful for the opportunity and focus in this session.
So Jenna, if you could add on to that. You're muted, actually.
Okay. Thank you, GGI team. Thank you, Yusra. Thank you all. One most important point I want to emphasize is that bridging the gap between scientific research and business, because that point where we can find sustainable solutions for global crisis.
Thank you so much. And finally, Jisoo.
I want to mention that youth are pretty vital and dynamic. So once we have opportunity to show what we have, I think we are capable of devising the solutions. I think that's the last message I want to share that.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. I hope that you all found this session insightful, just like I have. And thank you to the panelists for your wealth of expertise on this subject. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Latifa, and your esteemed panelists. And that takes us, ladies and gentlemen, to the last part of this session, with the closing remarks will be delivered by GGI's Africa Regional Director, Dr. Mali Fofana.
Well, I was just sitting back and I was saying, okay, my dream really is just how I can become young again. But if there's any secret or solution, please share. But I would like to pause and reflect on the journey. I mean, the energy, the vision, the commitment that you, our young leaders, have displayed are nothing short of extraordinary. Today, we have seen powerful example of youth in action, from the ambitious initiative of the Future Sustainable Leaders to the groundbreaking project by Sustainable Ambassadors. It is clear that young people are not just preparing for the future, they are shaping it right now. Take Jesu from DeltaGo, whose innovative approach to sustainable solution is not only transforming local communities, but showing that the world what is possible when passion meets technology. We can look also Yusra Hassan, whose tireless work on empowering vulnerable youth and shining example on how compassion and actions can drive real, tangible change. This story are so many more and really remind us that the potential of youth is limitless. They are not waiting for permission, they are taking it and take the lead. Looking ahead, our mission is clear. We must continue to invest in the capacity of young leaders to ensure they have the knowledge, the skills, the opportunity to scale their impact. The future of the climate actions, green growth, and sustainable development depend on it. We must promote global collaboration and cultural exchange, fostering a world where ideas flow freely across borders and where the collective power of youth is harnessed and to address more pressing challenges. Considering electrifying Success Ethiopia Addis Djibouti Electric Railway, a project fueled by green technology, youth innovation across border cooperation as well. It is not just a vision for the future, it's the reality today. And yet, there is so much more to do, from renewable energy innovation in the MENA region to electric vehicle deployment in Africa. The role of youth is leading this effort is pivotal. You are the architect of the new era, one defined by green solution, inclusivity, and sustainable growth. To the young leaders here today, you are the trailblazer of our generation. Your ideas, your actions, and your relentless determination are the catalyst of the global change. Whether you are mobilizing community through grassroots campaign or designing cutting-edge technology, your work is driving the transformation we desperately need. As we look forward to COP29 and beyond, remember that your local actions are the seed of the global impact. You hold the power of reimagining the world, and as we have seen today, when youth take action, the world shifts. Let us commit to nurturing this energy, to supporting these bold ideas, and to fostering an ecosystem where young leaders can thrive. Together, we will ensure that the youth power is not only drive our sustainability effort, but redefine the future itself. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to our speakers panelists, and everyone involved today. A special thanks to the Youth for Sustainability Masdar, and I all distinguished partner for making this session possible. To our youth here, never doubt that your voice matters. The world is ready for your leadership, and we are all standing behind you. Thank you, and let's continue to drive forward with purpose, passion, and unwavering belief that the power of youth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fofana, and that's the end of it. I'd like, in the name of GGI's team, I'd like to thank Dr. Al-Anoud for her presence in person with us today. Thank you very much. Also, I'd like to thank you all colleagues for your attention here in the room and also online. Hopefully you found it informative and insightful.